Hey Blades fans, welcome back to Hertz Arena and another Florida Everblades pregame show, playoff edition once again. I'm Hannah Jo Groves alongside Jake Maurice. Jake, the Blades take game one in shutout fashion, 2-0 against the Savannah Ghost Pirates, but they did not make it easier on the Blades. Tell us, how did the Savannah Ghost Pirates kind of line up with what you were expecting from them last night?
They were fast, they were physical, they were right there with the Blades for pretty much the entire game, and yeah, this is not going to be an easy series for Florida. They're playing their best hockey of the year, what you'd expect for a team coming into their first playoff run, right? They want to impress. They want to show that, no, we're not just the 4 seed up against the 1 seed and we're going to make it easy for them. Florida really had their hands full with the Ghost Pirates last night, and this is not going to be a simple series for Florida to win. Got the job done in game 1. Have the 1-0 series lead, but they still need 3 more, and they're going to have to battle for those wins.
Pfizer is the one who gets to the net first in that first period. Kind of walk us through what led up to that goal and then how it propelled Florida through the rest of the game.
Well, it's a good clear by Doherty and Betts. They get the puck out of the zone. Pfizer wins a battle against his man to get inside positioning on his guy on the wall, and then the other defender for Savannah doesn't really close on him for some reason, and that gives Taryn Pfizer a lot of space. And if you know anything about Taryn Pfizer, you give him space to walk it in, and that's one of the best shooters on Florida. You're just asking for a bad time if you're the Ghost Pirates, and that's exactly what happens. Beautiful shot by Pfizer. I don't know if there's a goalie in this league that's stopping that shot.
Yeah.
And Florida's up 1-0 in the first period, exactly what you want on home ice.
That was a snipe. It was great. So then the second period comes in, neither team scores. So what were you seeing from both teams' defenses in that second period?
Certainly some scary moments.
Yeah,
There was no goals, yes, but boy, they were close.
Really
there
close.
Was a lot of elevated heart rates around Hertz Arena last night in that middle frame.
For
Some
sure.
very close calls, but both teams' defenses, they did what they needed to do, right? Especially, you got to give credit to the goaltending. Both Cam Johnson and Vinny Purpura were excellent last night, and both teams are going to need that if they want to win this series.
Yes.
But sometimes there are points where you just need to survive. Just get to the next shift. It's not always going to be clean, right? Every team that makes the playoffs, especially in the South Division, they're here because they're a really good hockey team, and they're going to get chances, they're going to pressure, and they're going to put you on your heels from time to time. When you get into those moments in your own zone, sometimes you just got to do whatever it takes. It doesn't need to be pretty. It doesn't need to be clean. You just have to get to the next whistle, to your next change, and reset for the next shift.
So in that third period, the Blades were still being outshot by the Savannah Ghost Pirates, but by the end of the game, the Blades had outshot the Ghost Pirates. So what were the main differences that you noticed when the Blades came out for the last period?
Well, I think they got through the second a little bit, and they were still in the lead, and that kind of calmed it down. Okay, now we only have to do one more period.
Right.
We're still up in this game. We know how good Florida is when they play with the lead. They're basically unbeatable.
Right.
And then especially once they got that Oliver Cooper goal, where it's just a nice net front drive, puck goes off of him and in.
Yes.
Really relaxed things for Florida.
Definitely.
Okay, now we're up by 2, just 6 minutes to go. We've been waiting for that one. It's a energy line goal, which always feels really good. A guy who's loved in the locker room, in Oliver Cooper. So you love to see that.
Yeah.
And then the crowd was more energized the rest of the way. You could tell it deflated Savannah.
For sure.
And Florida used that to just salt the game away.
Yes, the whole vibe in the whole building was like, okay, we have 2 now, we're good. It was getting a little nerve-wracking there in the third period. So, Jake, you said that this could be a chippy game. It got so chippy that even Cam Johnson got hit with the stick at one point. He still had a great game. Let's go there actually first. Cam Johnson, shutout. We talked about how his confidence is already really high, but that just builds upon it. What were you seeing from him in the crease yesterday?
Typical Cam Johnson playoff excellence, right? He lives for this time of year. He's super motivated after the ending of last year's playoffs, right? Going down in the Eastern Conference Finals on home ice. He's one of the most motivated Blades to rewrite the story this year and get back to championship glory. I mean, you talked to him after the game. You know he's motivated. And he starts off the playoffs with a 29-save shutout. His 14th all-time with Florida. Leads the ECHL in playoff shutouts in league history.
Yeah.
Anytime you got Cam Johnson in the crease of the playoffs, you've got a chance to win. And certainly, especially in that second period, there were points where he was holding Florida in it. The only reason sometimes that Florida kept that lead, and that's what you need your all-star goaltender to do for you.
Absolutely. ECHL goaltender of the year, second year in a row. Makes sense. So, yeah, let's talk about more the chippiness that kind of got Cam Johnson at one point. You expected it. It surpassed my expectations, but coming into tonight, what do you feel like, how is it going to roll over into tonight? Do you think teams are going to be more disciplined? What do you think?
Well, we only saw one power play the entire game yesterday, which was a little bit of a surprise.
It was a surprise.
And a lot of the chippiness was certainly even, so you can see why there weren't necessarily penalties going for either side there.
Right.
But, I mean, these two teams, they've hated each other for years, and that's without playoffs, without the extra emotions that come into those games. Now that the extra emotions are there, it's only going to be more of a factor, which makes discipline more of an important factor, right? Because you got to be able to stand up for your guys, especially your goaltender if he gets clipped in a scrum. You've got to be able to get ready to get punched in the face, get ready to take a whack, take a bump, right? That's playoff hockey.
Yeah.
But you've also got to stay smart while you're doing it. Imagine bad scenario idea, hypothetical from yesterday. Blades are up 1-0 in the third period. You take a dumb penalty in a scrum after the whistle. Savannah scores, and it's all of a sudden a tied game. That's why it's so important that Florida was able to stay disciplined. Yeah, sure, after the game's over, go nuts.
Right.
Do whatever
That's
you
what
want.
they did do, actually, yes.
So, yeah, go for it there.
Yeah.
But during the game, just skate away.
Yeah.
Kind of like surviving the next shift.
Right.
Survive the
Just
scrum,
get
out of it, and make sure you don't put your team into a tough spot. Because that one power play Savannah they had a couple of chances on it.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get too far into this tonight, let's also take a look at Camille Frick. Got to talk to Coach Kyle Mountain after the win last night. Let's see it.
Hey Blades fans, Camille Frick post-game with assistant coach Kyle Mountain. Coach, walk me through that opening goal, Taryn Pfizer taking advantage of open ice and some miscommunication between Savannah's D-men on that one.
Yeah, no, great read and just speed by Fizey. That's where he's most effective. So he had a ton of speed coming out of the zone, and just he's got a great shot too. So good to get us started on the right foot and get the first one tonight.
How was your guys' prep leading up to playoffs shown up in tonight's win?
Yeah, I think, I don't know that we quite played our game tonight, but I think, the third period, the way we closed the game was kind of textbook of how we wanted to play. So I thought we just tightened the screws on a lot of things. I thought we were, pretty structured and sound defensively, and always helps to get, a little bit of cushion there in the third with Coop's goal. So, just a good way to finish the game.
What specific things, other than just tightening up the structure, did you guys tighten up in the third to be able to extend the lead?
Yeah, I thought, earlier in the game, first two periods, we were just giving them too much time and space, and they thought they were getting through the neutral zone a little too easily. So third period, we were just a little bit harder to play against, a little bit more on top of them, as far as just, our tracking and our neutral zone forechecks. So I thought those things improved, and, it showed in the way the game finished.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Camille. So game 2 tonight, Jake, we need the direct effect marketing 3 keys of the game. How do we get this one?
First goal, super important for Florida last night. It's going to be important again tonight. We talked about it all season long. Florida with the lead, very dangerous. Without the lead, it's tougher for Florida to execute their game plan the way they want. So getting that first goal, important, especially in a series that looks like it might be pretty low scoring between these two teams. Second off, Florida needs to disrupt Savannah's speed. Their offense was at their best when their guys had their legs moving, especially in the attacking zone when they were able to cycle the puck, move around the perimeter, and set up some open lanes for opportunities. Finally, you want to be on their defense. You want to be pressuring them in on the forecheck, aggressive on those guys, force them to throw pucks away, make mistakes, and you can generate chances off of that.
All right. Well, I'm excited for this one. It's sure to bring a lot of unexpected, I guess, and we'll be as ready as we can be. And home crowd, we want to hear you. We need you. Cam Johnson said that is a lot of the reason that they got the win last night was that energy that was in the building. So let's keep that rolling. Next up, we've got warm-ups. Then it's game 2 in round 1, the Savannah Ghost Pirates versus your Florida Everblades. We'll see you there.